get into today's agenda for this meeting, I just want to say a few things about a close corporation. A close corporation is a legal entity. It is managed by its members. The maximum number of members shouldn't exceed 10. It was created by the Close Corporation Act 69 of 1984 and enacted by the Parliament in June 1984. However, on the 1st of June 2011, the Companies Act of 2008 has stopped the registration of new close corporation. There are still some close corporations that are existing. About a month ago, I, Ms. Manjezi, entered into a contract with Watson Supplies for the close corporation's office material. And as a result of that contract, A1 Logistics Close Corporation has incurred a liability of 50,000 Rand. I never consulted any members when I entered into that contract because I was acting as an agent. And there were no restrictions when we concluded this agreement for the CC that
based on the situation at hand, I think everyone's interest, I think it's going to be everyone's interest. Remember guys, the duty of the members as per the Close Corporation Act, the member has a duty to act in the good faith for the business. And also the member must exercise his power and act the corporation, but not exceed his power, had avoid the conflict of the interest.
Okay, so the member needs to avoid conflict of interest.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm just stressing on the fact of Mr. Manjezi act as an agent on behalf of us.
No, definitely. Yeah.
But Mr. Manjezi took the decision, so we have to come up with the final answer.
Now in this situation, we definitely need to stand together.
Yeah, and it basically, we all know, according to what we've said already, Ms. Manjezi acted as an agent on behalf of A1 Logistics.
Yes.
And therefore, A1 Logistics will have to be liable.
Exactly.
But we'll have to hear what everyone else says.
At the end of the day, it is A1 Logistics' name that is on that contract.
Yes. Yeah.
According to the Act, if a member concludes a contract with an outsider in the name of the CC, the CC is bound to that contract. Whether or not the contract is within the nature of the CC's business,
yes,
the CC will still be bound to that contract. So the contract that Ms. Manjezi entered into, as she's already mentioned, it's valid even if she got no authority from us or received no consent from us to act on behalf of the CC. But the fact is, that contract is valid.
Taking over for Mrs. Twaku here, Ms. Manjezi, as a member of A1 Logistics, did not have any limitations or restrictions with regards to management or decision making of the business. And I personally think, as one of the members of this close corporation who have the best interest, I think that was a good move because it will bring us needed profit to grow this business. All right. And then also, as per laws and legislation of close corporation, A1 Logistics needs to accept the liability and commit and acknowledge the debt.
discuss whether it will be good for our business to be converted into a company. But before we discuss that, we first need to check if our close corporation has grown big to compete with other big companies in the same market that we are in. If ever we do agree that we need to convert, there is a letter that we will all need to sign. And lastly, from my side, I just want to say, by converting the close corporation to a company, we will be able to invite other parties to invest in our business.
Currently, we are a CC, and as we know, CCs can no longer be registered anymore. Okay, and we've been running as a CC, but we need to find out if we can look at the process of converting from a CC to a company.
I don't know if we can convert the CC to a company. Can we?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
definitely we can. We
Okay.
can convert from a CC to a company, and it is stated according to the Company Act of 1973.
Okay.
It provides for the conversion of a CC to a company, and also Section 29C of the Company Act states that CCs may, with written consent of all its members, apply to be converted into being incorporated as a company, provided that every member of the CC, so us as members, become a member of that company. So you can't say, well, now you don't agree to us converting into a company, so therefore you're now not willing to come over or move over to us. So all of us as members have to agree that we will still be members of that company once we've converted. The application must be accompanied by all documentation that is required in order for us to be converted as a company. And just to name a few, there must be a statement that the paid up share capital is an amount not greater than the excess of the fair value of the assets to acquire by the company over liabilities to be assumed by company on conversion. Secondly, our accounting officer would need to give us a statement that he's not aware of any contravention of the CC's Act by the CC itself, meaning by A1 Logistics, and also is not aware of any contravention of the CC's Act by us as the members of the CC. So we would need to get that statement from our accounting officer as well. It's just a few documentation that is required in order for us to convert, should we decide that we want to convert to a company from a CC.
Also, we must look our budget, if our budget is allowing us to.
Yeah.
Because we need to register, we need to change the names and the stuff. There's no need of that.
Yeah, we will
It
definitely.
is something that we need to look at. It's one of the directions that we are considering taking, which is to convert the clothes, something that we do in an instant.
Yeah.
Because remember, with the close corporation, we all these years we have been saving, especially with labor cost, because there's no need to hire more people as directors.
Yes.
All right, and also remember, about 2 years back, we lost one of our members. All right, and because now of the business, there was no need for us to start up a new contract, because now there was a change in membership. All right, and lastly, what other benefit of the close corporation is that we are not liable of the debt of this business. This business is a natural person. It has its own debt that the business needs to acknowledge and be reliable for.
All right. I think with that being said, we must not forget the fact that the rules for governance of a CC are more relaxed. For an example, a CC does not need to convene an AGM, whereas a company must have a holding agent.
Yes.
And the cost to register CC is lower than that of a company. So there are fewer formalities with the CCs and fewer rules to follow than that of a company.
Remember guys, to make this changing or to convert, there's a lot of challenges we're going to meet. The disadvantages, as you already said, the advantages. There's also some disadvantages.
All right.
Remember that the cross corporation has up to a maximum of 10 natural persons. The number of the employees not limited.
Okay. Sure. Yeah.
You remember?
Yeah.
And all the members must be agreed to dispose of the members' interests. I don't know if you get what I'm saying.
Yeah. No, we understand.
Yeah, definitely.
It's got greater challenges. The minority of the shareholder can be oppressed. Remember, it take money and it take our time to change.
Yes.
So I don't know what we're going to do, but we have to come up with something if we convert our business or not.
We must consider those disadvantages because honestly, it requires a lot of money to run a CC, and also if you're looking at the taxation part of CCs as well, also requires a lot of money.
Yes.
So it's one of the things that we will need to consider.
Yes, because even the fact that we limited to 10, because in a case whereby more capital is required, we can't bring in extra people because we limited to that 10.